we've really done it this time, haven't we? Yikes. Now, normally, when I see a bow like this here, this is what I normally see. It's broke on both ends, so I can't even tell what end is what. Oh, and this isn't the end. This is the tip. Normally, this is what I see that's broken and needs repair. And I go, oh yeah, we can do that. You know, we repair it. We put a slit in, piece of repair wood in there, and life is good. It's not always, you know, I'd love to say that it's 100%, but it's not. When you start working with a wood that's been bent to shape and it's supposed to hold that shape and it's got life to it, and you break it and reglue it together, let's just say Humpty Dumpty had a few pieces in the wrong places and was never really whole again. So we got extreme breakage. I cannot even possibly fathom. I mean, look at the frog. The frog is broken. I can't even begin to fathom what happened to cause this much damage. Oh, and you know, just to add insult to injury, it's a Tourte. You know, I would have never fixed this bow. I wouldn't have done it. This is a customer instrument that came in, and the fiddle is whatever the fiddle is. It needs a bit of work, so we're gonna do that for the customer. The bow, we both agreed that the bow was a write-off. I got looking at the bow and I thought, man, you know, maybe this is an opportunity for me to really test my skills, see what can be done and what can't be done. This was actually pinned with, I don't know, wood filler, toothpicks. There's two little, I don't know if you can see that. There's a couple little pins in there. Anyway, I went to flex the wood and I went, oh, that feels nice. That's a shame that this broken bow is now, you know, done. And I thought, you know, Lucas, there's some crazy people out there, and you're one of them. Why don't we try and fix this bow? Voila. What a bad idea. What a freaking terrible idea. This is not going to work. This is going to fail. This is going to break to a million pieces. Even if we do get this back together, like, look. Let me bring you in here. Let me bring you in for this, okay? Even if we do get this back together. So, okay, there's the two pieces joined back together. Even if we do get it back together, we've got to, like, rebuild the mortice, because that's all what it is. And the same thing up in the top here. This goes back together. Oops, sorry, I'm all over the place here. This goes back together, but not without some great big gaps. The frog, you know, ouch. Double ouch. So even if we manage to get the whole thing put back together, we still have to rebuild this, completely rebuild this, and make it strong. This here, I'm actually less concerned about this than I am about, where's my pieces? This to make this all strong again on the end of the stick is Not gonna be easy. This here I've got mega glue surface. We'll make that work. The frog already, I can glue that back together. I can square off that big gaping chunk that's missing, and I can inlay some fresh ebony. I've got some pieces of ebony kicking around that I can, I'm pretty sure I could do something there. Might be noticeable, but whatever. So we're going to take this as a little bit of a challenge, and we're going to see just how far a bow repair can be taken. Oh boy, this is by far the worst idea I've ever had. Okay, let's try something. The key to success with something like this relies on a few things. Number one, you have to know that, in fact, what kind of wood you're dealing with. Okay? There. So you figure out what kind of wood you're dealing with. And most bow woods are tropical. Pernambuco and Brazil wood, ironwood, ipe. They're even making bows today out of bamboo, purple heart, snakewood, various others. So you have to have a glue that is good for oily woods. I use epoxy. And I know some of you guys are out there and you're going, oh no, Lucas, you're not using epoxy. Yeah, I use epoxy. I do. Let's we're gonna try and let's work with the frog first. Why not, huh? I'm gonna try and pull this furrow. Now, I'll have to flatten that out. Whatever trauma this thing endured was pretty intense. I got big pieces of wood coming off already, flaking off. I'm just gonna make a little spot here. Might as well put these small pieces into here, and then I don't just lose them instantaneously. Oh, see, I got like pieces of stuff falling out here. The wedge was like weird wedge. What's the worst that can happen? I'm not going to hurt anything. Get it out of there. I am by no means thinking that this is an original Tourte. But some of the telltale marks of a factory bow aren't there. Like the Germany isn't here. There is a little bit of cross hatching here, but it's not a Roman numeral like I would expect out of a factory bow. So I'd have to do a little bit of research. I'm not a bow expert by any means as far as dating and branding. My word. Big pieces have just fallen out of here. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so the plan here is going to be just simply to get some epoxy in there, glue that, clamp that back together. That's numero uno. Okay. Then we can go and we can file this out straight and put a block in there. File this out straight, put a block in there, and recarve what we need to recarve for the mortice. And for this, the wings are still good. We will have to, do some work there. And then this top edge, we're probably gonna wind up leveling this off and adding a slab on both sides, and then reprofiling the whole thing to the stick. So, there's, I don't know, 10 hours worth of work. I don't know, hard to tell. Okay, I don't want to mix up epoxy yet because I want to have a game plan so that I can mix up epoxy, do this, and glue up as much as I can so I'm not wasting material. I think this is the next part that has to go, and it's all about just figuring out where it wants to fit back to the nicest. There is a bit of a that looks like that's about where it should go. So what I'm going to do there is I'm just going to make a couple pencil marks, and that'll, that's where it lines up and it's pretty smooth. And again, we'll have to do some cosmetics here. Whether we fill those little gaps in, probably what we'll do, something like that. So that piece I'd feel pretty confident about gluing. Now here you can see they've used a bunch of glue already, and they tried this, and their glue didn't hold whatever glue they used. So that makes a nice little rat's nest for me. This kind of looks like hide glue, actually, if I'm being honest. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. As a matter of fact, that's pretty darn good. Not really. That one can only really go one way. Yeah. I want to make a couple marks as well here just to give me a good lineup. If I can get all of that glued, getting greedy by... I'm not sure what they tried to use in there to do that. That's pretty... Oh, that's pretty rough. What we might have to do here, what we might have to do is we might have to file this flat, get a thin, might use a thin piece and put in there, you know, so we might take 1/8 of an inch, and then I'll get I use ironwood for restoring, because I have it. I do have a very little bit of Pernambuco, but I don't believe this is Pernambuco anyway. I believe this is an ironwood bow. It's sometimes so hard to tell, but it has a lot of the same. I don't know if I've got a little piece of ironwood out here. See, this is, I'll show you, these are my little pieces of what you call it, Pernambuco, that I've picked up over the years. And I mean, that's just not Pernambuco. You see those two different species? This is the Pernambuco, and I believe this is probably ironwood. Ironwood was used lots in bow making. Not lots, but you know, it wasn't as common as, say, not common, that's another bad word. It wasn't as preferred as Pernambuco, but it was used. So I think the tip is going to have to wait until we've got everything else coming back together. If we can get everything else back together, the tip I know I can replace and repair. It's getting everything back together and stable. This I'm going to have to... I'm not sure. What I'm just wondering about is if I put this back together and I cut a slot in here for a spline, you know, to bridge that back, put some fresh wood in that crack, you know, through there. Or what I have seen recently being done is small carbon fiber pins. And so you'd put this back together and pin it, you know, at angles to help hold it. That is such a stiff stick. I think it has potential, actually. Clamps. What are you going to use for clamps, Lucas? Whoosh. Saran wrap. Yes. You heard it here first. Saran wrap. All right. I don't really think there's anything for it. We're going to give this a go. What I've got here is some G2 System 3 epoxy. And this is good for oily woods and stuff like that. It's it literally says for bonding oily woods. So this is what we're going to use. And we're going to, you know, not mix up very much because we don't need to. This stuff is thick. I'll turn it upside down here and start letting it come down. The hardener, I should say, is thick. I always mix up more than I need just because, I mean, I wouldn't want to run out. That would be silly. I'm gluing up a little bit of two to one. And we mix. Yeah, I got just a piece of vinyl here, as well as I've got a piece of maple, so I got a caul for both sides. Down around those eyes, good, because that's going to be a pretty important place to have some adhesion. Got lots of glue on there, so I'm not worried about mess anything up here. And I'm going to get a little do some a little bit of white down here right away just to clean up this mass of I got a Teflon strip on the bottom there, and that's gonna allow enough movement here to. I gotta should have had a little harder block on the top there, but. There we are. Now we're gonna just get us a nice long roll of length of this here. We're not going for a rope, we're going for a kind of a flat, a little bit wider piece. Okay, all right. You got working time with epoxy, which is really nice. This is what I'm going to put a little bit on both sides here. Okay. Now we're gonna get this on there. We're gonna get some squeeze out. We're gonna try and get rid of a bunch of that right away and make a terrible mess. Oh my goodness. Nope. That's okay. We have plenty of glue. We got our marks. And it just kind of locks right in there. So I'm squeezing pretty good here now. I'll wipe a bunch of this excess off. I'm going to start right on my pencil lines there, because I know that that gives me the best chance at holding that there. And I come just up to the end of the crack, past it a little bit, and I'm going back, and I'm holding some pretty decent pressure here, but I don't want to squeeze anything out of, in the wrong way here. Should have had a piece of tape ready before I started this, but I didn't, so now I do. Okay, and as easy as just taping that end down. Okay, we'll see, eh? Get another piece of tape and another piece of saran wrap. We'll do the tip. There's a little bit of warp in that bow yet. We'll have to deal with, but for a nice bow, or maybe not a nice bow, who knows. Anyway, frog, end. Stay tuned to see if we can get the tip back on, and if we can clean this up and make the frog functional. If the frog isn't functional, it's not the end of the world, because I have other frogs that I could use. So it's all about getting this tip, and you can see they've doweled it right through in the past. I'm probably just going to leave the dowels because they're filling the holes, and I'm going to slice that and put a whole new slice of wood in there. And I have to make a decision about what I'm doing with this to reinforce this, if I'm pinning it or what I'm doing exactly. So decisions are coming yet. We'll call this part 1. Can it be saved? Stay tuned for part 2.